Hi, welcome to SAP MM Training. In this video, I want to set the expectations for this course. First, who is this course for? There are four different kinds of people who take this course. The first group is the fresher. So these are folks who come right out of college and then they don't have any experience, obviously. And there is another group who have some level of experience, but not necessarily in SAP. There could be a non SAP consultant, non IT or IT, doesn't matter. And another category is the SAP consultant. He or she is already an SAP consultant, but not an MM consultant. For example, he could be FICO or SD or CRM. And finally, we have another category called the end user. So these are folks who use the system. They are users of SAP systems, or they want to be users of SAP systems. It could be in any domain: MM, PP, SD, FICO, finance. This is a broad categorization on who can take this course. Now, in terms of what they need, these folks overall typically need three things. Number one, business scenarios. When I mean business scenarios, we're saying, for example, in SAP MM, what is a purchasing cycle? Who is a vendor? What is planning? What is MRP? How is invoices received? What is logistics invoice verification? These are all business scenarios. The second topic is end user transactions. Some examples of end user transactions could be how to create a purchase order, how to issue an output of a purchase order to a vendor, how to receive an invoice from the vendor, how to post it in the system, how to clear that invoice. These are all end user transactions. Simply put, this is how you execute a business scenario in SAP. The third thing, of course, is the configuration. In configuration, you learn how to configure the SAP system to suit the requirements of the business. Now, in terms of who needs what, a fresher who wants to be an SAP consultant would need the business scenarios because they're just fresh out of college. They wouldn't know how the material management procurement system works. So they would need to first be taught business scenarios. And of course, they need to be taught end user transactions. Because once you understand the business scenario, you need to be able to do that in the system. And on top of doing it, they also need to understand how to configure the system so that user will be able to do it the way they want it. So a fresher or an experienced consultant or an SAP consultant typically would require all these three different things. An end user, on the other hand, will need to know end user transactions and maybe business scenarios, but he doesn't need configuration. So, this is the matrix of the type of people who can take this course and what they need. This course covers all the three pieces: business scenarios, end user transactions, and configuration. Why learn MM? Well, there are many different modules, right? There is SD, there is finance, there is CRM, there is SRM. So why learn MM? It's easy to learn. It's really, really easy compared to other modules. MM is really, really easy. There are some modules like GTS which are really shorter than MM in terms of scope. But if you take the core modules like SD, MM, FICO, CRM, MM is easy to learn. And of course, MM has plenty of jobs. Now, every company needs procurement. Even service companies need to buy. For example, take Deloitte. It's a service company, but it still needs to purchase. It purchases services, it purchases servers, it purchases rental space. Every company needs to procure. And procurement comprises of the bulk of MM, material management. Now, some companies also need inventory management and planning, and they're all part of MM. So, the point being, all these business processes and especially procurement is fundamental to any company. It could be a small company, it could be a big company, it doesn't matter. It's fundamental to every company. So that is another reason why you gotta learn MM, because every company requires it. So you're gonna always have your job. And who can learn SAP MM? Anybody. Anybody can learn SAP MM. There's no doubt about that. Anybody can learn SAP MM. You don't need to have a lot of experience. You don't need to code, or you don't need to understand complex languages like Java or ABAP. All you need is some common sense and willingness to learn.